Hello my lovelies and welcome to another video on my channel. As always, thank you very much for watching. This video is all about creating this mani here. When I sat down to do this mani, I actually had quite a few different colors and I had different ideas, and it just kind of morphed into something that I wasn't really expecting. But anyway, it ended up turning out okay. I had a few fails to begin with, but you won't see that because that was when I was doing my my right hand, and I didn't record that because it's yeah, that's just quite slow. So all you'll see, what I've got here is everything that you will see me use in this video. So starting with the colours, all the colours I used are Madame Glams. So we've got Perfect White, we've got Shimmer White. That was one I brought part way through. I wasn't expecting to use that colour, but you know, got to be flexible with these things. This is Bittersweet, which is the pinky colour. We have Stardust, and this is Perfect Black. And I also used their gold gel paint, yeah, which is the little gold gel paint in a pot. It's really, really pretty, very opaque, lovely to work with. Actually, it was the first time I used it today and I was really impressed with it because I wasn't actually intending to use that either. It was just one of those days, you know, just kind of started out with one thing and just ended up with something completely different in the end. Other than that, I used my cleanup brush, which you're used to seeing. The top coat I used is from Glitz Nails Australia. If you've watched my previous video, I'm actually doing a bit of a trial at the moment of a new polygel, or new to me at least. So I'm using their top coat. The next products I'm going to mention are all from NSI. I do have a code for NSI. You can get 10% off your first order. That's NSI Australia, and that's my palette. You will need a palette of some sort. You know, obviously you can use a plate or anything plastic, anything that you can use to put your gel down on. I just use my dap and dish. You'll need some dotting tools. I used these three here. I used the bigger ones and I used the very fine one, and I did that one. I did the animal print, and then I used my detailer brush. That one's from Uber Chic, so and this is my Born Pretty gel brush. So I like to use a small gel brush when I do the marble effect. So that's the size for that brush. And I think that is everything that I use. So as always, you'll need your cleanser or isopropyl alcohol, something to clean your nails before you start. And I think that was everything. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you will subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And let's get into it. So I'm just going in with my first colour, which is Bittersweet. I haven't got a base coat on, but then I've got polygel as my base. So I actually don't really need one. This is the polygel that I'm actually testing out at the moment. So after this video, that will hopefully be uploaded with some review on this polygel. It's the first time I've used it. Given it a try. So as you know, I normally do Builder Gel, so I was excited to give it a try. So we're having a little go at that. So yes, I'm just capping the free edge, gosh, if I could speak today, of that Bittersweet colour. It's quite an opaque colour, this one, so I actually go in with just the one coat, which obviously saves a bit of time, which is quite handy. I'm also just using it as a background. If I was using it as a colour just on its own, I probably would do a second coat. But seeing as it's just sort of the background colour, then one coat is fine. And on this thing, my index finger, I go in with the one coat as well. Let me know what you think about this camera angle. I have changed it a bit because of feedback I had on one of my previous videos. Someone said that I was too far away. So I have zoomed in a little bit. But yeah, I'm not sure if my right hand's blocking the view a bit too much. Let me know what you think anyway, in the comment section below. So capping the colour, as always, I always cap the colour. I only ever do it on one coat though. I don't cap the free edge on two colour coats. I don't really think it's necessary, and it just adds a bit of bulk to the end of your nail, which is obviously not what we want either. So as I think I mentioned in the intro, this mani ended up being completely different for what I set out for it to be. I actually started out with using a yellow. I thought the yellow and pink would look good together. When I marbled it, it just didn't gel at all. I just didn't like the look of it, so I ended up going over. I'd done the yellow as the background colour and I went over it with a layer of black. This is on my other hand, so you don't see this, which is probably just as well, because that probably would have driven you nuts. Looking at me fiddling and faffing and changing my mind. It was just one of those days today. When I sat down, I had absolutely no idea of what I wanted to do. I struggle when it comes to such like designs on such short nails. Normally I have longer nails, as you're probably aware. I did break one and it ended up cutting them quite short. So everything I could sort of think of needed a little bit of extra length. So anyway, long story short, I just sort of ended up with something completely different, but I think it actually looks fine in the end. So for me, I struggle because the nails are a little bit short, so I think it looks a little bit odd, but it's just what you're used to, as always. So that's just one layer of the perfect black, and now I'm coming in with the perfect white. I didn't show you the bottom of the bottle with the perfect white because at this stage I wasn't actually intending to use the shimmer white. I was just thinking I'd just be using the one, but this base layer is actually the perfect white. And then when I go in with that second layer, that's when I go in with the shimmer white. Mainly because initially I was intending of putting the marble on my middle finger. So one layer of the white would have been enough. I ended up changing my mind and I did the animal print on that nail instead. So you're going to see a lot more of the white as a result. And I actually don't like the look of perfect white on me. I think it's just too pale, it's too stark. I've got very pale skin anyway. So this is the shimmer white that I go in with as the second layer. Once I realized I was going to have, you could see quite a lot of the white, I decided to go in with the shimmer white because on me I just think it looks a lot nicer. I think if you've got darker toned skin, the perfect white's fine, but for me it just looks really stark and I don't really like it. So I just went in with the layer of shimmer white over the top. And it just gives a nice shimmer to the white, obviously, as per the name. But it's not quite a stark white either. It's a more sort of soft white. So yeah, I decided to go in with a layer of that once I realized you'd be seeing quite a bit of that white background. This is a new cleanup brush, my old cleanup brush. I did end up actually having to throw it away. It probably needed to go out about a year ago. But I was limping it along, but it really did just get to the point where it was just past it. So this is the Bittersweet. I'm just going in and decanting a bit of the colour. I've already got some black on my palette, as you can see. And I'm just going in with a dotting tool. So we're going to start doing the animal print first. And I think I went in with the black and then realised I'd gone in with the wrong colour. So in between there, I had actually wiped off my dotting tool and got rid of the black. I was out of shot there a little bit with zooming in, and you can't get as much in the shot. But yes, I did take that black off my dotting tool, and now I'm going in with the gold because I realised I needed the gold and then the black surround. So as I said, it just wasn't really happening for me today. Everything just seemed to be harder and require more thinking than, yeah, for whatever reason. It happens. It's the weekend. So I went in with the gold on my little finger, and I'm going in with the pink on my middle finger. And there's no real method to doing animal print, just do what you like. I kind of go in with just sort of random shapes. Some of them ended up being sort of teardrop shapes, some were quite round. It really doesn't matter. It's not an exact kind of design, which is quite nice. It's good for days like today where you just can't get your act together and it's like, oh, you know what, I'll just go with animal print, because you really can't get it wrong at the end of the day. So it's nice to have a fallback for things like that. Animal print's good like that. Glitter fade is good like that. Yeah, things just it's always handy to have a couple of designs in the back of your mind where you just think, you know what, that's a good fallback. Things with dotting tools as well, because a lot of the time the dotting tool just does the work for you. So yes, whereas things like that need a bit more intricate designs was just beyond me today. And as I said, my nails were shorter, so I didn't really have that much real estate to play with anyway. But yes, I'm just going in with these colours and doing my surrounds for the animal print. And again, a bit like the dots themselves, you don't have to be too precise. Some of them, I don't tend to surround them fully. I just sort of cup them a little bit. Sometimes I do 3/4. Just depends on my mood and where they're placed on the nail relative to others. And then I just go in with a few sort of smudgy dots around the nail as well. So I do some in the gold and then I do some in the black as well. And I'm just doing the same thing here, but on my ring finger. And I think with this one I do make a bit of an oopsie, and I go in and clean it up. So, because I haven't flash cured this at this point, I didn't really need to, so I didn't worry about it. But luckily the mistake is at towards the bottom of my nail. I think it's around here somewhere. And I can just go in with my cleanup brush and just wipe it down. So as always, the beauty with gel polish, it just doesn't stay until you tell it to, until you cure it in the lamp. Then you've got time to do what you like with it. That's just a bit of isopropyl alcohol in that dappen dish. And I'm just going in with my new cleanup brush. It's not new at all. This brush is actually probably one of the first brushes I bought off eBay years ago. It's probably about 10 years old, and I've hardly ever used it because I don't particularly like it. And I think I knocked the camera with it a couple of times because it's got a really long handle on it. But I didn't really like it to use with the gel, so I thought it's been sitting in my drawer for a long time, and I thought, oh, that would make quite a handy cleanup brush. So yes, I've been using that as of today, so we'll see how that goes. But so far so good. But yes, my last one, I was quite sad to throw it out because that's a good number of years old, and it's been a very good little brush. So it's funny how we get attached to our tools, especially when they're good ones. These dotting tools are the same. I've had these for many years as well. And yeah, they're great. They're double-ended. There's 5 of them that come in the set, and they are double-ended, so you've got 10 different sizes basically across the 5 dotting tools, so pretty much any size dot that you would like. And obviously I use the larger ones when I'm doing the animal print, and then I use the smallest one when I'm doing the surrounds and the extra little dots in between. So and I use the smaller brush, I think, on my little finger than I did on my middle finger. So just depending on what you want them for, it's handy having the different sizes. So here I'm just coming in and creating a row of each colour. So we're going to go and do our marble in just a second. So I'm just lining up my colours. I think you'll see at some point I do clean off my my brushes. I've done a couple of them because I did get a bit of extra colour. I think maybe it's the white one. I think I pick up a little bit of black or something. So yes, just make sure to check your brushes before you put them back in the pot, because you don't want to contaminate your colour, especially like that one. It was a white polish and I picked up a bit of black, so I didn't really want my white to end up looking grey. So make sure you clean your brush. All you need to do is just wipe it down a lint-free pad, and that does the job. So I'm just coming in with the marble design. This is my size 4 brush, and I had a hair on it, so I had to get that sorted. And I'm just going in and just scraping up that colour and just sort of doing it in a wavy zigzag diagonally across my nail. And marble's one of those things, again, it's a bit like the leopard print. You can't really go wrong with it. And if you don't like it, which I actually found on my other hand, I did one that I really didn't like, because I think I said I did the yellow and the pink, and I just didn't like it, so I just wiped it off. I just didn't cure it. It's an easy fix. If you do a marble, some of them turn out better than others. If you're really not happy with it, just wipe it off. Don't cure it, wipe it and redo it. Yes, you'll go through a bit of extra product, but I don't know about you, but if I have a design on my nails for 2 to 3 weeks that I don't like, it just bugs me and I won't wear it long enough. So you may as well just do it properly the way you like it in the first place, I reckon. So yes, I'm just coming in here and just doing a bit of a diagonal across the nail. The other thing you can do as well with marble, if you know, because sometimes you pick up different stronger colours or more of one colour, you can always go in afterwards and tweak it if you want to, add a bit more of one colour, or, you know, break it up. Just clean off your brush and break up your marble a little bit if you wanted to separate your colours a bit more. So there's quite a few options that you have, and obviously the longer that you leave it, the more your colours will self-level and blend and merge, especially if you use something like a blooming gel. I didn't for this video, but if you use a blooming gel, then you can leave that for, you know, literally a couple of minutes as the colours sort of blend and mold together and give you different designs and different looks. So it's quite flexible, the marble. As I said, you can't really go wrong, but it does look different every time. So if you think, oh, I can reproduce that at some point, good luck. I've never managed it. I've seen some people do some amazing marbles, and when I do it, it still looks great, but it just doesn't quite look the same because it never looks the same twice. So here I'm just going in, as I was saying, you can add a little bit. I decided I didn't have enough white on this nail. Because the nail is black, I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, so I've just gone in with just some white, no other colours. So that's where these palettes and things are really handy. You can just put a little, decant a little bit of one colour somewhere on your palette and go from there. So it's, they're really handy. And I think I'm happy with that at that point. And I pop that in the lamp. Whenever you see my hand dash off to the side, it is going into the lamp. So sorry, I probably should have said cure times as well. These Madam Glam polishes are 30-second cure. However, whenever I'm marbling, I always double my cure time and I go in for 60 seconds. And that is because when you're marbling, you've got more polish than you would normally have. And you just want to make sure that it is fully cured. So I will always cure it for 60 seconds, regardless of what colours when I'm doing marbling. And the black, whenever I'm doing black, even if I'm just doing a straight colour, I always cure that for 60 seconds as well. So dark colours, reds, blacks, dark blues, that kind of thing, I cure those for 60 seconds, even if it says 30, because I would rather just make sure it's fully cured. And you also want to keep your layers quite thin, because if you go in thick with gel polish, it will bubble in the lamp. And you can't actually save that you do just need to file back and start again. So I'm also coming back in here with my detailer brush. I'm picking up that gold gel paint, and I just wanted to follow some of the marble lines with that because I really quite like this, and it just looks nice. It just gives you a little bit of shimmer and a bit of interest to the colour. And I also went through and did a border on that as well, because I've only done half the marble on that nail. So now I'm just coming in with my top coat. So as you can see, today's mani was really quite quick. I just went in because I'm just sort of going with some quite easy designs. It was quite reasonably quick to do. Here you'll see me sort of shimmer the brush on my top coat. I always do that when I've used my dotting tools. When you use dotting tools, obviously where you put the dots on your nails, that gel polish sits higher than the gel polish sort of that's flat against your nail, if that makes sense. So I like to make sure that everything gets top coated. If you just do a light layer of top coat sort of skimming over the top, sometimes you'll just get the top coat on the top of your dots, but it doesn't actually get down into the polish below the dots. So if you put a little bit more top coat on your brush and sort of shimmy the brush over your nail, then your top coat's going to get everything and it's just going to look shiny and beautiful. So this one just had the marble, not really an issue with that one. It was pretty straightforward to top coat. And I quite like this top coat. It's a new one. As I said, it just came with the Polygel kit. And it's lovely and shiny. So we're going to give this a try and see how this wears over the next couple of weeks as well. So yeah, lots of new things to trial at the moment, which is great. All very exciting. Nice to try different things. So yes, this one you can see me doing my little shimmer thing a little bit as well. Because yes, that's got I use the dotting tool on that one as well. And the other thing you can do, you probably saw me do it there, is you can cap the free edge of the next nail that you're doing before you coat the rest of the nail. So sometimes that's a nice way of doing it because you've hardly got any top coat left on your brush at that point. So you don't end up with a thickness at your free edge, if that makes sense. So yes, but then as you see, sometimes I go back in and I do it anyway just because it's habit. So yes, but anyway, that's going off into the lamp. This is a 60-second cure for this top coat. Just doing a quick check there, make sure that I don't have any dust or anything. And there we go, that's this week's mani. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you're all well. Take care and I'll see you soon.